this is Becky. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to start off by reading a little bit about our violet ray, which is Archangel Zadkiel. So the color is violet. The focus is self-transformation, spiritual growth, and cosmic alchemy. So for the last 3 years since leaving my teaching career of 30 years and doing in-home behavior supports for people with special needs and starting my own consulting business, I've been really trying to work it on really improving my spiritual growth and my self-transformation, accomplishing goals that people said that I'd never be able to accomplish. And it's all because of the archangels and the universe really working with me to co-create this reality. They've already brought in some amazing destiny helpers that have helped me along the way, and I know there's more that are going to be coming into my life to help me continue this process. So the chakra is the crown chakra, the element of cosmic energy. Balance expressed as cosmic consciousness, cosmic awareness, discernment, and understanding. I've lived in a society and a town in particular who likes to gaslight people into trying to convince them that things aren't what they are, and then tries to mess with their mind and try to rewrite the history and do a little song and a dance to make everybody think that they're right and you're wrong. And so that really does mess with your spiritual gifts and your compass and your alignment with the angels and with God in the universe. And so I've had to do a lot of recalibrating in order to get the clarity that I needed to be able to move forward. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the channel message that I'm going to share after this. So it says, the highest vibration in the rainbow, violet, is the 7th ray that has the shortest wavelength. It is also the fastest. As such, it symbolizes a transition point between the visible and the invisible to the normal human vision. Therefore, it has always represented divine alchemy and transmutation of energy from the gross physical into the divine. Archangel Zadkiel is the angel of mercy and benevolence. He has definitely been protecting me through this whole transition, because I've been speaking things that people don't want me to speak. And so I've needed the protection and the mercy from archangels, and especially Zadkiel. He is also known as the Holy One, who teaches trust in God and the benevolence of God. He brings comfort in our hour of need. He is regent of Jupiter and of Thursday. He is often portrayed holding a dagger, since he was the angel who stopped Abraham from sacrificing his son Isaac on Mount Moriah. Sorry if I said that wrong. He is leader of the angelic order of dominions and one of the 7 great archangel beings who stands before the throne of God. In the book Ozar Medrashim 11,316 by J.D. Einstein, he is called Kadisha and listed as one of the guardians of the gates of the east wind. All right, so channeled messages that I have for today. Well, first let me start off with some songs. I like to start off with something good. So while I was doing my workouts, I had telepathically received the song Dream a Little Dream by Mamas and the Papas. And here's the lyrics. It says, stars shining brightly above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me. And just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. That one. And then the other one that I got was actually playing when we were exercising. And it was Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye. I don't know if I shared that one in a previous one, but that one came through again. So it said, listen baby, ain't no mountain high Ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far. Don't worry, baby. Just call my name and I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. Then the other one I got, which was telepathically, and I've gotten this one a few times, so I'm like, all right, I'll tell it, is signed, sealed, and delivered by Stevie Wonder. And the phrase that keeps repeating is, here I am, baby, signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm yours. You got my future in your hands. Here I am, baby, signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm yours. Now, I am not exactly sure who this person is, but I like their taste in music and the lyrics are great. So I look forward to meeting you in the 3D whenever you're ready. And the last one I wanted to share was Dancing in the Streets. And this is another one that I get telepathically frequently, and it's by Martha and the Vandellas. It says, calling out around the world, are you ready for a brand new beat? Summer's here and the time is right for dancing in the street. They're dancing in Chicago, they're dancing in the street. They're dancing in New Orleans, dancing in the streets. They're dancing in New York City, dancing in the streets. All we need is music, sweet music. There'll be music everywhere. There'll be swinging and swaying and music playing, dancing in the street. Oh, it doesn't matter what you wear, just as long as you are there. So come on, every guy, grab a girl. Everywhere around the world, they'll be dancing in the streets. So if you haven't caught on, music is definitely a language that my divine counterpart and I enjoy sending messages to each other telepathically and through our magic in the universe. It's been a fun little adventure. Okay, so now the channel message. So I kind of wanted to, it's a little bit long, it's a little bit of a story of giving some information and kind of ties into the archangels and how they've been protecting me. So one of the things that in the Bible that has really always struck me, and I just find it fascinating that most humans do not actually apply this, is the concept of judge not lest ye be judged. In fact, Jesus even told people that were going after this one particular woman for her sins, let ye who is sinless cast the first stone. And I just find there's so many times when I'm working with people that have these hurts and these relationship traumas and betrayal traumas and all these core wounds, that usually it's coming down to projections and persecutions, lies, rumors, jealousy, you know, all of those things that people then turn around and want to point the finger at somebody. And then you have to remember that when you're pointing your finger at somebody else, you actually got 3 fingers that are pointing towards yourself. So we don't want to get it caught up in judging other people, because then we also get judged. And so then it's a lose-lose situation. So I try to be kind and forgiving towards everyone, because I believe that most humans really are hard on themselves and they don't need me to also beat them up. But there are some that they don't care and their hearts are blocked and they are Nephilim and like demonic entities are controlling it. And for those, I really don't care and I will give it right back. So, but most of the time I give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they don't know any better and that they're hurting on the inside, and that's why they hurt other people. So I am a bully's worst nightmare, but I am also a protector for many others. So those who intentionally harm me and those that I love will be on the receiving end of God's wrath. So that's why I don't really go out and retaliate the way people want to. They try to push and push and push to get reactions from me, and I leave it in God's hands. God says vengeance is mine, so I let God handle it. And it's never, I'm afraid of God because God's powerful, and so it's never a good place to be on that side of God. You know, it's like you really do want to try to be on the good side. Good, and it's a choice, because good and bad are subjective, and what's good to me might not be good to you. So I just try to stay with what's in God's eyes to be good, and then let Him deal with, you know, ruling out and the consequences for people. So just because I don't fight back doesn't mean that the angels and my ancestors and God in the universe aren't handling it, because they are. So never mistake my kindness for weakness. It's a conscious choice to walk away from fights that I used to engage in. But we as a collective are experiencing a mass ascension for the whole planet. And that, unfortunately, most humans are not prepared for this. And so this particularly explains the increasing rates of suicide on this planet. And for those that don't know, yes, it is a prison planet, but we are here incarnated in this lifetime, in this season, in 2026, in order to help clean up the planet and try to reverse what the evil has done, which is why it is so important for us to all be authentically in our power, speaking our truth, and helping one another through these difficult times, because it was never designed to be that way originally, and my soul is primordial. It means it was before fear was introduced into the collective, and so now I'm here to help pull the fear out of the collective by helping people that are trying to purge the grief, the guilt, the shame, all those low vibrational emotions. And the Galactic Council has been really protecting me through all of this, because, like I said, it is a holy war, and I am a soldier within the holy war. People find that hard to believe, because I am kind, not nice, but I'm kind. But when it comes down to it, I do have a divine mission, and anybody who slows down my mission or prevents me from doing my mission, they receive very tough consequences from the Galactic Council as well as God in the universe. So I am looking forward to being able to work more closely with those that are in alignment with their missions, so then that way we can help power each other up and keep people moving forward when the darkness is trying to overtake us. So I'm here to assist powerful conscious creators who are upgrading the Earth's grid system by creating divine systems for humans to operate their carbon-based AI life forms in. That's what this is, carbon-based AI life form, right? We get downloads from the divine. Now, some people that have weaker vessels have opted out of their body and said, I don't want to be here anymore, and then the demonic forces can then remote control take over, and the darkness, invades that person. And so one of my jobs as a divine feminine is to amplify whatever is given to me. So if a force is coming at me with negativity, then I'm going to amplify that and send it right back to them. I'm trying to transmute and alchemize as much of it as possible, but if they are going to continue to come at me, which I have had one gentleman at the place where I've been kind of seeking some assistance, who intentionally wants to try to find ways to talk to me and get under my skin, and so I give it right back. It's like, no, we're shutting this down. You're not supposed to be talking to me. We're done. And so if that comes across in a certain way for people, I don't really care. The demonic entities are always attacking what the supreme being of light, which I call God, right, or the Great Spirit, or the source of life. So the demonic entities are always attacking what we're trying to establish throughout this Earth School. We're trying to clean it up. It kind of like one of the movies that I modeled myself off of when I was teaching was To Serve with Love. and how to help model for the students good behaviors and manners. And I used to say I'm teaching them how to be good humans and decent people in society, as well as teaching them the academics. So I was there to help them holistically be able to work through so much more than just teaching them reading, writing, and math. And so the people that were watching me do this were taking advantage of that. And again, it was lessons I had to learn to be able to put in healthier boundaries and be able to advocate for myself, because I've lived so long with this sense of male authority, and you can't challenge the male authority, and masculinity in females who enjoy that patriarchy, who enjoy having dominion over other people. And so I was faced with that a lot within the public education system for over 30 years. And so it was conditioned in me just to take the abuse, be quiet, because they're all one big club and you're one person. And there was enough of us that I could go to kind of get some refuge and be friends, but none of them would band together and work with me as a group to be able to make actual change, which is why God led me to creating my own soul-led business. So what I want to do is Divine Feminines amplify. So I cast light so bright that the demons either, one, they voluntarily remove themselves from that system. They'll just leave, they'll quit, they'll they'll blame me, of course, but they'll have other opportunities that'll show up and they'll leave the system. Or those in power who created that system, who are monitoring, who are supervising, if they are of the light and they see the good that I'm doing, then they are quick to remove them from the system, because they know that my number one priority is safety. Safety is the number one thing. In order for humans to be able to thrive and function, they have to have a calm nervous system. And so that is my number one priority, is creating safe spaces. So any system that I come in to assist, safety is what I look at first. And not just physical, but spiritual as well. So both light workers and shadow workers, so both the light and the dark, are always tracking my movements and monitoring my progress. We're under surveillance at all times. Cameras are everywhere. I mean, they track us with our devices. People have hacked my phones, hacked my computer. I no longer care about that anymore. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead and watch me. There's nothing to see other than me doing God's will. So if I can be an example for people who are paranoid about all the cameras, as long as you're doing the right thing, then you're fine. If you're doing nefarious things, well, then I guess you need to be stressed. But I also don't think that it's right that we're all so controlled by everybody. But during this season of transition within the human species, the males and the patriarchal society that we're in, until it fully transitions into more of a balance, they're using surveillance in order to one, clean up the planet, but two, also to monitor those of us that are doing right things, because it can be very easy for somebody to take advantage of other people. So even when it appears that I'm alone, I know that I'm never alone. I go walking and I see the eyes quickly turn. One time I was at the gas station and the guy that I was dating was passenger in my car, and he chuckled when I went to go in to pay for the gas, and I came back out. He's like, "You didn't even see that, what?" And I'm like, "What?" Sorry. He said, "You didn't even see that." And I said, "What?" And he's like, "Well, the guy that was pulling into park was paying attention to you, and he accidentally hit the garbage can." You know, so people are always watching me even when I'm not paying attention, which really does kind of freak me out. But I'm just so used to it now that I'm like, all right, well, whatever. But I know that not everybody can handle themselves in situations. And believe me, if someone wanted to gang up on me, then I'm in trouble. So that's why safety is such a priority for me. So at the homeless shelter, there was a young man who started talking with me, and this was when I first got there. And through the questioning while we're having this conversation, it came out that I reminded him of his ex-wife, which I could quickly tell was not a good thing. I could tell that I was potentially going to be in a dangerous situation with this particular individual, because whatever hostility he had towards his ex-wife, I could tell that he was going to try to take it out on me. But after that conversation ended, I wasn't sure what to do next. I mean, considering I had no evidence to prove what my perceived danger was, there was no staff present in the building for me to report it to. So I decided the best thing for me was just to keep my distance from that individual. I kept my headphones on, I do my own thing, I don't really talk very much anyway. But what was interesting was by the next day, to my surprise, that young man was nowhere to be found. I later heard rumor that the people that run the facility had saw and heard what was going on through the cameras, and that alarmed them enough to remove the man and returned him to a more restrictive system. I'm not sure if it was to an inpatient treatment facility or a group home, or if it was a correction facility. All I know is that they removed him and sent him to a more restricted facility. Either way, the immediate danger was eliminated by removing this one individual from this supported community living situation. I share this story because I'm not a supporter of the 24/7 surveillance, but it can have its perks. So those of you that are on the fence about this, there are not enough helpers, there's not enough leaders to protect everybody, and that's another reason why we have to help each other and have each other's back. And so in this case, the cameras potentially saved my life. When the cameras are supervised by good, God-centered humanitarians who are rooted in their divinity, like the ones that were at this facility, then we can rest at ease. But unfortunately, there are dark forces that also are on the planet that can completely destroy humanity by using these same surveillance systems, which is very scary to think about. Now, when I first got dropped off at that homeless shelter, which was because my vehicle had broke down in the middle of winter. It was January, freezing cold, couldn't survive out in a broken down vehicle, and the police officer brought me there to ride out the weather. And then because I couldn't afford to fix the vehicle, I ended up staying there way longer and trying to get back on my feet in a community that doesn't support what I'm trying to accomplish has made it even longer. So but what I was going to say is that I wasn't there because I was on drugs or because I was a prostitute or because I was robbing people or something. But people will assume that just because I was there, that somehow meant that I was some sort of degenerate. And I just want to remind people that most Americans live so far above their means that all it takes is one illness, one career move, which was what happened with me. I decided to leave my career to start my own business, and then had a whole bunch of backlash, which prevented me from actually really getting to launch well. And so people will then judge you based on misperceptions and not even ask questions or get truth or facts. They just spread the rumors like a beehive, and everybody, oh, I already know the story. Well, you never even met me, so how do you know the story, right? And these are the type of things that are happening all over the place, and which is why I'm determined to not just stationary, but to be a missionary on wheels that moves and helps other places as well. So then I kind of made this stay here. I called it my what's that movie where they're all in detention? The Breakfast Club. I said, this chapter of my book is going to be called The Breakfast Club Adventure, because I felt like I was in a time out for not playing the game of life the way the community wants the game of life to be played. And how dare I go against the grain? So anyway, I decided to take this as an opportunity to really get on board with helping them. I was running some workshops that they asked me if I would be willing to do, and so I really helped some of the individuals there work one-on-one with them, as well as doing the workshops. Worked with the staff to be able to try to help them improve their communication and their behavior. I was very grateful when I first got there, because I saw this as godly provision and a sanctuary. But when I got there and I started to realize it didn't take me too long to know that I really wasn't safe there, like the story I shared, right? So I had been placed, when I got there, it felt like a spiritual jail that was designed to use coercive control and slave labor to keep the facility running. The head case manager at that time and I did not see eye to eye, but out of respect for the owners of that facility, I did my best to comply with their rules without intentionally causing problems. But I now realize, unfortunately, or fortunately, that my mere existence causes problems. I don't even have to speak. Just me being present can cause problems. So I had to come to grips with that reality. And during one of this particular woman's lectures about how horrible we were all behaving, she was contradicting herself, as she often did, by saying that we needed to tell her right away when there were problems so she could address them. But then in the next breath said, but don't come up to me and hover around me because it triggers my PTSD. So after a couple, 2 months of seeing this inconsistency and the instability that was within her was triggering and having an effect on the collective within that system, normally I don't talk unless someone talks directly to me. But this particular time, when she opened the floor and said, are there any questions or comments, I couldn't help myself. I raised my hand and I said, all right, I'm going to put my neck on the chopping block. And then once she gave me permission, I said, I'm sorry, but your PTSD is triggering my CPTSD. And then I proceeded to call her out on what she had been doing for the last 2 months and what she had just said and the inconsistencies, which then creates chaos within that system, and that the leadership needs to all be on the same page in order for the people that you're helping to be able to feel safe and secure, and then be able to heal and grow and get nurtured and move on. So we didn't have an argument. It was just a very much a direct conversation that would then was later taken on by the owners of the facility to be able then to address with her, because they knew that I was right. I wasn't trying to be antagonistic. I was bringing up very valid things that needed to be addressed. So I said it just made no sense because she was wanting to know about people's problems, but then didn't want us talking with her. So she was having us fill out complaint forms and these reports, and then they were just getting piled up and then not getting addressed until there was a crisis happening, and then getting upset with everyone like we were children, who were just being naughty and didn't know, how to handle crisis situations. And we're talking about people that had mental illness and cognitive delays, and some of them had been incarcerated for decades, so they're just getting out and getting reacclimated to society. So it was very frustrating for me in that situation to watch her then have temper tantrums because she now had to fix these situations, which could have been resolved if she would have just had some conversations with people. So being a communication and behavior specialist, I'm like, this is what I do. And she was telling me, sit down, be quiet. I don't want to hear from you. Like, okay. But luckily there were people above her, and like I said, the owners and the manager of the facility were fabulous with me, and they were able to negotiate the situation and navigate this, and eventually they ended up having her leave her position, and she's no longer with them. And what that did, getting again now rid of one person that was, you know, disrupting the safety of that environment, it went from feeling like a spiritual jail to now feeling like a spiritual boot camp, which I'm all about. That's okay. Because people were now allowed to assist each other in their healing process, and then the corrections could be made. Otherwise, it was you're just going to sit there and you're going to be quiet like it's detention, and you can't talk to each other, you can't help each other, you have to, you know, and it was just, it didn't make sense. So it was just how one person can really totally impact an entire system. And so I'm really grateful that my voice was heard by the people above her, and that those changes were made, because now the system is running better, and it's having more effect on helping the people there be able to move on, because people were getting there, but then they were stuck there and they couldn't figure out how do we get these wounded warriors to heal and fly away, little birdies, out of the nest. And so that seemed to help. Now there's still some little birdies there and some wounded warriors that need more mending and need more supports, but that system is a evolving system that's growing and improving day by day, and they had been stuck, and luckily I was able to help them get through that obstacle and be able to remove some of that blockage. So I was able to help shift the energy within there, and that's what I do is when I go and help these families and the businesses, I help shift the energy as well as purge out some of the toxicity. I just want to say that I really am grateful for this particular facility, because I would have been dead if it wasn't for them. And they took me in the heart of winter when I wouldn't have been able to survive in the elements, and the cost for just being alive in the United States has become so ridiculous that those of us that are not playing the game the way other people are, that we are suffering huge consequences. And like I said, you know, there are always people that have it worse than me, so I am not complaining, but I'm just saying that that's one of the skills that I try to bring to the table when I'm in an environment, is being able to help the group be able to function better in order for it to be more efficient and help as many people as possible. Okay, that was a lot. Let's let the Ascended Masters have a chance now that Becky's had her say. We're going to check with the Keepers of the Light Oracle and see what we get. Like I said, storytelling really is cathartic, and it helps get it out of the nervous system, and I just wanted to also give you examples of what kind of services that I offer when I'm working with businesses as well as the families. So I'm not there to judge and criticize, but I am there to point out things that need to be changed and give suggestions on how that can happen. Ooh, okay. Talking about the Galactic Council, we've got Commander Ashtar. It's call to action. Take charge, lead by example, and walk your talk. So now I know that I'm supposed to be moving on. Like, I've done everything that I can do with this particular center, and now I need to move and help another business, and then move to help another business and another family, right? And I'm supposed to be moving accordingly, but I can't do that without funds. So if you are willing to help a girl out and being able to continue with my mission, I would greatly appreciate it. You can reach out at homans.consulting@gmail.com for more information on how you can help me be able to help other people. Because right now I do have books that are for sale, and I do on Amazon. I also have my mentorship It's a 7 Steps to Getting on the Same Page program. I have a 90-day complete family resolution mentorship program, as well as a Starseed launch program. So I have a lot of services available. If you are interested, go ahead and reach on out. All right, let's talk about the Work Your Light Oracle message and see what advice we get. I feel like I have all of this in me, but not the momentum and the mobility to be able to get around and help people, which is why I've turned to the technology to see if I can get help this way. The Awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being and integration. Amazing. I love this. I know people who have known me my whole life, who saw how devoted I was to church and God and religion and Christianity and all of the things that, you know, are worldly. And now that I've gone cosmic and I've gone galactic, I mean, I've always been that way, but it was just, I was a secret nerd. Because I believe that we're supposed to be like Star Trek. I was a huge Star Trek geek. And I think we're supposed to have like, where everybody respects everybody, no matter how unique or weird. Like I always related to Spock and Data from The Next Generation, and just very analytical and like trying to figure out and problem solve and help everybody be able to have success in life. And I think we're supposed to be anchoring that type of environment onto the Earth grid at this time. That we're supposed to have a welcoming environment that all can come and everybody's needs are met. You never see them exchanging money on the Starship Enterprise. You know, the food was just available. The drinks were available. The medicine was available. It wasn't, everybody contributed to the mission and the team what their gifts and strengths were, and there wasn't a competition. It was everybody working together. All right, let's get a message from our Crystal Alchemy deck. Sorry, this video was a little bit longer than the others, so I had a lot to say while I was meditating today. All right, we have the Lapis Lazuli, which is for your third eye chakra. And I do think it also helps with your throat chakra, healing your throat chakra. It says positive influences, authenticity, and leadership. That's a good one. I'm used to leading teams, and so trying to be on my own without a team. Like I said, I've been like, where's my team? Where's my people? Why am I doing this by myself? And I'm not doing it by myself, just they're with me in the 5D and not in the 3D. And I'm like, but I want to be in the 3D with you guys. Like, let's get together. Yeah. All right, messages from the Spirit Nature Oracle. I can't help it. I'm old school. It's like I need face-to-face conversations. I need to be able to read body language, tone inflections, eye contact. It's like this whole new tech world is just, I'm older than the computer, guys. Okay, I am older than the internet. So I used to have to do my research papers with card catalogs and the encyclopedias. All right, we got Lotus, Resurrection. Oh, and you know what a synchronicity that we get this is when I was working out, then they had a half-hour meditation that I stayed for. And the woman who was orchestrating that, she told us today that she just got a tattoo that she had been wanting on her forearm, and it said, "This too shall pass," and it had the lotus on there. So I love when I get these like little synchronicities. All right, this is card 22. It says, though they look delicate and fragile, lotus flowers have unparalleled resilience. Their existence stretches back more than 145 million years. They even survived the most recent ice age when most plants in the northern hemisphere became extinct. Their seeds can survive for thousands of years without water. They tend to thrive in wetlands and grow in mud, yet are able to adapt to their environments. Every day throughout their lives, they submerge into murky river water only to rebloom each morning without lingering residue from their environment. No wonder the lotus has become such a powerful symbol for the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. And believe me, this whole rebirth process has had its growing pains, let me tell you. The lotus is often seen alongside spiritual masters and thus is also associated with faith and spiritual enlightenment. One story tells of how Buddha appeared atop a floating lotus and his footsteps on earth left behind blossoms. Lotus spirit is deep within our collective consciousness to remind us to trust the cycles of life no matter where we are in the process, even when we are in the mud of despair. What inevitably follows is a resurrection into the light. And here's your message. The recent experiences you've gone through have been so intense and disturbing that you've questioned your faith in spirit and your own capabilities to pull yourself out of the muck. Yet, you must keep your faith, even though you feel like life has kicked you around and severely tested you during this time. The suffering you've endured by being a captive of the darkness will soon be relieved, and you will be able to shed any residue from the experience as you go through a major rebirth. Each cycle of rebirth you have experienced in your lifetime has had its degree of pain preceding the emergence, just like childbirth. And if I could survive childbirth 3 times and having my fractures in my spine at least 3 times, I can handle this this spiritual rebirth and my ego deaths. So through it all, you have survived and ultimately been renewed, often by letting die those aspects of yourself and your circumstances that no longer fit who you are and who you are becoming in this next era of your life. Resurrect your faith and allow yourself to blossom steadily yet unhurriedly as you reach for the light, only to find light has been there all along and is now making itself even more apparent. You might even acknowledge this cycle of renewal by celebrating with a ceremony. All right, let me go ahead. Oh, I wanted to share with you. So my journal I have the quote is, "We love him because he first loved us." 1 John 4:19. And so I went ahead and did day 3 of my tarot learning, right? My tarot journaling with my little stickers. So there was the layout for today. And I had number 1, the vibration of my daily self-talk is a major spiritual awakening, rebirth, and a cosmic wake-up call. So synchronicities. It's an invitation to forgive yourself, step out of self-limiting beliefs and habits, and embrace your ultimate potential. Number 2 was the situation I attract with my thoughts are balanced using moderation, patience, and purpose. It's a gentle reminder to avoid extremes, to embrace the middle path, and practice self-control. Number 3 was thinking patterns I need to modify are resilience, perseverance, and standing your ground. When this card appears, it often symbolizes you are physically or emotionally exhausted. It's a reminder that you have the strength to make it through the final stretch and to protect your achievements. And number 4, opportunities in the next 3 months that are attracted with my new mindset are an exciting new spark of inspiration, boundless enthusiasm, and a creative leap of faith. It signifies youthful energy, adventurous ideas, or a literal message coming your way. This card encourages you to embrace curiosity, even if you are just at the beginning of your journey. All right, let's get a message for the people that are on the twin flame journey, that are wanting to call in soulmates and wanting to know what the love energy is right now. Let's see what we got going on here. We have retreat. It's time to disconnect from the world. So if you are looking for spending time with that quality person without the rest of the world, there's your message. It's time to get to know each other more intimately instead of being part of the whole group. All right, and let's go ahead and hear from my ancestors. It's like, oh, do I want to hear from my ancestors? I've already talked a lot, and they're probably going to say, girl, you're not supposed to share so much. But let's see what they tell me. 'Cause sometimes I can be a chatty Cathy, especially if I haven't talked for a really long time, and I haven't really talked much today. And the energy just comes flying, like that one. All right, let's get 2 more, and then I'll read all 3 of them together. Alright, there's that one. And one more message from my ancestors. Let's see what they have to tell me. Okay. So the first one that I pulled says the Ace of Spades, which is swords. So it says hard work, dominance, triumph, wisdom, wealth, new beginnings, new ideas, but difficult truths, transformation, end of a cycle, death and rebirth. So another confirmation that we are on the upswing of this rebirth and good things are coming in. Next came out was the King of Clubs, which is wands. It says a mature, strategic leader. He's ambitious, sets goals, and has good plans. This masculine will have intellectual, mutual respect, I like that, and power and justice, a protective partner and stability. Thank you, ancestors. I know they've been trying to work on making sure that only the right people can reach me in the 3D, and sometimes that can be a challenge for my ancestors given the state of the world. So I'm glad that they found someone and that he's going to be coming in. All right, we got the 8 of Spades, which is swords, is self-imposed limitations, negative thoughts, victim mentality, restricted, emotional mental blocks, mental constraints, past drama, need of introspection, being stuck, feeling trapped, and lack of perspective. Because I know that when this gentleman comes into my life, he's going to be like, you have all the tools necessary to get yourself out of this. I shouldn't have to come and rescue you. I'm like, but I need help. But clearly my ancestors are already giving me the lecture. So you don't have to give me that lecture when you show up. All right, let's go ahead and end with a message from Archangel Raphael and the Healing Oracle deck. I know one of the things that I've been trying to get used to is doing things on my own because, like I said, I'm used to codependency and being part of a team and a collective and having other people to share ideas with. And so this last 3 years of having to do this on my own has felt like a nightmare. And so obviously I'm still getting over that. And I'm trying to be interdependent and not codependent. And I'm sure it comes across that I'm still hovering more towards codependent because I'm like, this isn't working. But I need to do things differently, and he's just going to be able to bring in the structured plan of how to be able to do that differently. All right, so we have avoid allergens. Dear Archangel Raphael, please assist me in identifying and avoiding allergens that may be toxic to my health and happiness. Help me to only crave healthful foods and beverages. And I've been doing really well with, hopefully you have too, with getting rid of some of these sugar cravings because sugar does feed cancer cells. And so I've been really good about trying to change my eating habits. And I used to be a carb addict, so I love breads and I love pastas. But carbs get converted into sugars in the system. And again, with diabetes running in my family, I have to really watch that stuff. And so hopefully you are taking your health as your #1 priority at this time, because that really is more important than money. because you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, then what's the point? So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed my rantings today and have gotten some insight and some wisdom and maybe a few laughs. And I hope you have a blessed day.